The Legend of Zelda. To be honest, I don't really know what to say as an intro to this game because I would imagine that most people who are watching this video already know a decent amount about The Legend of Zelda. It was maybe one of the most famous NES titles ever released in most libraries, and I think most people who had an NES have either owned this, rented it a lot, played it a lot. It's infamous. It's very well known, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody was great at it or successful. Um, I think it was pretty regularly covered through Nintendo Powers. Nintendo NES Atlas featured it pretty heavily. So a good chance that people know the ins and outs of this game. But I don't feel like my channel could be what it is without covering The Legend of Zelda. One of the most important and one of the greatest games ever made. So maybe you'll learn something new from this video, maybe not, but either way, I think it could still be a fun little nostalgia trip for you. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into a retrospective of The Legend of Zelda. So right out of the gate, for those people who I guess don't know much about The Legend of Zelda, this was one of the first open adventure games ever. They literally started you with no guidance, no directions of where to go. As you can see from that first screen, you can go left, right, north, or into a cave. You don't start with a weapon, you don't start with any items, you have to figure out everything on your own. That freedom is amazing, and as you'll see, like through this game, there's a lot of choices. You can go several different directions. You have 9 dungeons that you have to enter through and complete throughout the game, but other than the 9th one, you can kind of do them in any order you want to. There's a couple exceptions to that, but as you'll see, I don't play them in a straight linear numerical order. There's also a lot of items and things that are completely optional in this game, so this is just kind of the route that I've gotten used to. Not necessarily the best way, not necessarily the fastest way, it's just kind of how I play. So the first thing that I always do when I play this game is I start by exploring the overworld and kind of building up some inventory before I ever take on the first dungeon. It's not necessary, it just kind of speeds things up and makes things a little bit easier in my opinion. So this will involve finding a few heart containers, getting the white sword, getting the magical shield, getting the blue ring. And so kind of what I'm doing here now is I usually start by going east through the beach, looking for an enemy to drop bombs. If no one does, then once you get to this cave, you should have gathered 20 rupees and you can just buy them right here. Or that blue Octorok will drop them for you, but either way, that's fine. Once you have that, you'll want to head back because our first goal is to get the white sword. And the game doesn't really tell you this, but you can't have it until you have at least 5 total heart containers. In this game, you start with 3 heart containers. You're going to get 8 more, one at the end of each dungeon, and then there are 5 more that are hidden in secret caves and secret locations. 4 of them are caves just like this, where you get a choice between either a red water of life or a heart container. Always, always, always take the heart container. It's the only way to get the maximum number of hearts and health. Once you get that one, we're going to go north here through the woods. Mostly, I would say avoid the moblins. They're a little bit tougher than you can take on right now. They're not hard, but they have ranged attacks. They take 2 or 3 hits. Just come on straight here through the desert, come in this cave, go ahead and get your second heart container. So we're now up to 5. We have enough that we can get the white sword. There's a couple other things that I want to do. Mostly it's kind of racking up some money. There is, I forget the grand total, but we're definitely going to want to buy the blue ring before we start level 1. So that's 250 rupees. There's the magical shield, which I think is 90. And then a couple other things that we could get. We're going to need the candle. That's 60. There's some other supplementary things like the Arrows are 80. We'll want those at some point. Enemy bait is 70 or 80, depending on where you go. We'll want that at some point, but those can honestly wait. The big thing is to get up to the 250 to get the blue ring and 90 to get the magic shield. Now, the game caps at 255 rupees, so you want to be a little bit strategic on how you get them. Typically, farming enemies for rupees is not efficient. There's several secret places throughout the game, and as you kind of watch this early part of my playthrough, you can see where I go and kind of what I do to go to some of those secret spots. There are 3 spots here in the game where one of those moblins will actually give you 100. The first one's up here in the upper right corner of the map. So those are great ways to get to the blue ring really quickly, but keep an eye on how many rupees you have total, because you don't want to waste these 100, because like I said, the game caps at 255. So here's the first one that'll give you 100. So that puts us up to around 170, 175. So we can keep going here. Now we can go get the white sword. Didn't want to do that before, because to get to the white sword from here, you have to go through the Lost Hills, which is a one-way path. You can only exit to the west. So to come back here and get that 100 rupees and the other 2 that I picked up here, I would have done a lot of backtracking to make my way back around. So now that we have those rupees, we can go here. Here's the Lost Hills. We'll be back here later. But if you tried to exit to the north, east, or south, it wouldn't let you, but you can exit to the west. This blue Lionel will easily take you out, so just try to avoid him at this point. Sometimes he'll go over to the west and down around the lake, and then you can sneak by him. If he doesn't, which he doesn't look like he wants to this time, you can actually just leave the room, come back in, he'll respawn in a different place, maybe you'll get lucky. Let's see what happens. Perfect. So as long as you're quick, he will turn on a dime and shoot you, and good chance that hit would take you out at this point in the game. Since we have at least 5 heart containers, we can take the white sword. It's twice as strong as what we had before. Still avoid him, don't try to take him out. So now we're going to do a little bit more farming for some equipment. Going to have to get the candle. That's kind of essential for a couple of the other upgrades that we want to get now. There is still 1 more heart container that we can get before we go into some of the dungeons. After that, we have to stop getting heart containers until we get a few more of the items. So yeah, move on down here. You could very easily take on a couple of the dungeons at this point if you want to. They're not, especially the first, I'd say 3, maybe 4, not that difficult. Would not have a tough time with them. I just think the pace works a little bit better. Move on through, collect all of your overworld stuff, then you can kind of just do a bum rush gauntlet of all 8 dungeons kind of in a row. We'll have to come out and do a couple of things in the overworld, just to pick up some of the straggler items that we couldn't afford earlier. Okay, so now that put us up to 216, so not quite enough for the blue ring yet, but I don't want to go grab one of the hundreds. That was obviously pushed me way over, but here's the place to get the candle. That drains it by 60, so I could go get 100 now, or I know of a couple 30s that you can get pretty quick and easy. These enemies do randomly drop some items too, so you're going to get some more, but let's go ahead and get one of the other hundreds, just because it's kind of out of the way, and just for efficiency's sake, you're not going to be back over by it for a while. So it's in the screen just above where, here's where you got that first heart. So go 1 screen to the north. There's a bush that you can burn. The screen immediately above this looks very similar, so just make sure that you're on the right screen. But there's your second 100. This will give us enough for our blue ring. Okay, to get that, we have to backtrack just a little bit. There is a lot of walking around in the overworld, but luckily the music's really good. Most of these enemies you can either kill or leave. There's also a strategy where if you leave, if you kill all of the enemies, they will eventually respawn. It takes about 5 minutes of gameplay or so. Never actually timed it. But if there's less than the full amount, they won't respawn back up to full. So most screens start with 4 enemies. So as long as there is anywhere from 1 to 4, it'll stay that way. So you can actually make the entire overworld a lot easier for yourself if you kill all but 1 enemy and just leave it that way, and then basically every screen will only have 1 enemy that you have to deal with. Okay, now we have the blue ring. This doubles our defense and changes our clothes. Also coincidentally changes the outfit of all of the merchants and Princess Zelda as well. So if you ever want a real challenge or something fun, go try to beat the game with either no ring or with the blue ring and see her in a different dress. So yeah, that drained pretty much all of our money. So we need to come over here. There's a quick 10 that we can grab. And then also the third 100 is right over here by the Western Woods. Get all that, which is more than enough to get our magical shield. And then we should be well equipped to take on the first dungeon, or the first several dungeons, with absolutely no challenge. Burn that one right there. Grab it. Ta-da! You can actually walk over that staircase without having to go around. If you push all the way to the top of the square, you can actually cross over there. Alright, so let's go grab the magical shield. There's a couple of places to buy it, and it's one of the first items that it's worth shopping around. There are definitely places where it's way more expensive than others. As you play the game, you'll kind of start to learn where items are, where they're cheaper. Specifically, the enemy bait, the magic shield, I think even maybe the arrows, but so like there, for example, the enemy bait was 100. It's much cheaper other places. So learn those as you go. It's fun to explore and kind of search around for different locations and things, but you kind of eventually learn your patterns and learn the spots to check. So we can grab one more heart before we go on to the dungeon, but now we are in very, very good shape. We've got double defense, double attack, magic shield, so we can block fireballs, most fireballs in the game. There's a couple that even the magic shield can't block. But yeah, we're very well equipped. We can come on up here. There's one more quick 30 that we can grab. Then we're pretty much done collecting rupees, at least in overworld caves, for the rest of the game. There are a few more that we can grab, but they're just not really in the most efficient places. Plus, from this point forward, most of the things that we need to get, we'll be able to afford with just the rupees you're going to find just going through the dungeon. So, like I said, we'll need some arrows before we hit level 6. They cost 80 to buy. Then yeah, enemy bait. And I like to have one red water of life just to have it. Level 6 or level 9 sometimes gets a little bit rough, but okay, so here in level 1, there's a lot of shortcuts you can take. You certainly do not need to clear out every single room of every dungeon. Right here from the beginning, I like to go to the right and the left just to grab a couple of keys. You're going to have way more keys than you actually need in this game if you take the route that I'm using. But, so yeah, you'll definitely get those first 2. Don't kill all the enemies unless you need to, or unless it's a room that's going to drop something you want. Here you can actually bomb to go north and save a little bit of a walk around. Forgot to grab the key that was spawned from the Stalfoses. So bombing just saves you a couple of rooms. Those little gels or souls, I forget which one's the smaller one, are not worth killing. They don't ever drop anything. Here's this room. Kill a couple Gorias to get one more key. And then we want to move to the left. Watch out for the traps that are in the corners of this room. If you move quickly through that one, you can get it. That one, oops, it wasn't quick enough. But you kind of need to trick them into coming at you and then moving past. Coming up here, grab the bow, which unfortunately is useless until we buy the arrow, but that's fine. We really don't use it until the second half of the game anyway. Okay, moving on through here. Just kind of backtrack to where we were, to the room that had the map in it. Keep on going through here and head off to the right. A couple Gorayas in here. These we do want to kill because they will drop the boomerang, which is one of the only cases where there's actually 2 items that you can get in a dungeon. So the boomerang is not the primary weapon of this dungeon, but it works. Whoops. Yeah, I was just going to say, be careful of the wall masters in this room because they will grab you. They don't hurt, but they will send you back to the beginning of the stage. So not that big of a deal in level 1, which is very short, but an annoyance nonetheless. So make our way back to where they were. In that room, you actually don't need to kill them. Here's another shortcut I'll show you real quick. Sneak up through here. Don't need to kill them again. Okay, now, again, because this is a key room, you don't need to kill the wall masters, so just kind of avoid them. Grab that key so we have one more. If you want to kill them and get a few rupees, you can. Just be careful. Oh, that was lucky. Okay, and then up here is Aquamentus. Your magic shield will be able to block, and your white sword will kill him in 3 hits. So very, very easy boss. Go ahead and grab the Triforce, and we're ready to move on. I can also point out that you will eventually learn, if you play this game enough, that there are certain enemies that are more prone to dropping certain items than others. It's not a standard rule, but if there's a certain thing you're really looking for, there's basically just certain enemies that are better to look at or to take down than others. For example, bombs most likely, or well, I should say, blue enemies like blue Octoroks, blue Moblins, for some reason really like to drop bombs. So if you are looking for those, you can head down to that beach in the southeast. There's a lot of them, or some of the forests have a lot of blue Moblins, especially around level 2. There's also blue Octoroks, great ways to get bombs. I find that Gorayas drop a lot of hearts, P-hats especially. If you need hearts, P-hats, those are they look like the orange flowers that are flying around, and you can only hit them when they stop moving. They are big on dropping hearts. The blue Tektites, which are the bouncing spiders down in the very southern edge of the map, close to the start, they're big for dropping rupees. So you just kind of learn certain things, and it just kind of helps to speed things up if you're looking for certain items. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going to go ahead and hit level 3, and then 4 is just a little bit more efficient. Level 2 is kind of off on its own, so there's really nothing you're going to gain in level 2 that you need. So come on in here and grab these. Grab that key. Those enemies, these here, it's nice that we already have the white sword, because if you just had the wooden sword, when you hit those, they'll split into 2 little enemies. This just makes it a little easier. Those red dark nuts you can completely ignore. There's nothing for it. I think you get either the compass or the map in that room, but it's not really worth it. These, unfortunately, you do have to kill. Now, if you have full health, you can take them out in 2 shots by just kind of shooting them from a distance. Without that, the best trick to take out dark nuts is you kind of want to predict where they're going to move and hit them as they're getting ready to walk in front of your path. This room I won't really demonstrate, because you can kind of just, if you're careful, you can sneak past them. You don't have to fight the ones in this room. Dark nuts can be one of the biggest problems for people in this game. They're very tough, especially when you get to the blue ones in level 5 and level 8. By then we'll have the magic swords, so it makes it much easier. But yeah, you can't hit these guys from direct, head on. You have to hit them from the side or from the back. They can be tricky, and they can kind of turn on a dime and kind of throw off your patterns. So just be careful. If you really struggle, just buy some Water of Life before you come in, and they're usually not too bad. But any way that you can hit them from a distance is always better. Grab a key here. Don't waste keys on those doors, at least not on the north and the west one. We're just going to go here to the east. Okay, there's the map. Don't really need it, but we can also take a little shortcut here, and instead of going all the way around, you can actually bomb this wall on the far right and go straight to the boss. There's a couple ways to take him out. If you can carefully hit him in the center with a bomb, that'll take him out in one hit. You have to take out all 4 of the heads. Each one that dies makes him just go faster, so try to drop some bombs and see if you can get him that way. It's tricky because he moves pretty erratically, but he's not too bad. Okay, we're going to move on from level 3, go hit level 4 now that we have the raft. That's one of the few stages where you do have to do them in a particular order. You have to do 3 before 4. Trying to remember which other ones. You have to do 1 before 6. You have to do 3 before 4. You have to do 5 before you could do 7, I believe. But for the most part, you've got a lot of freedom of where you go and what order you take these in. I'll also say that levels 1 through 4 are kind of the unofficial easy levels. Their difficulty kind of spikes once you get to level 5. The room right before this one that had those vires, they are a pain in the butt. Until you get the magic sword, hitting them, here's some more of them, they're just going to split into 2 pieces. They don't drop any items, and they bounce around, so they're kind of tough to hit, so kind of a pain. Also apologizing for the fact that I'm walking through these rooms in the dark. I didn't even think about that when I recorded this video, but yeah, I know the levels pretty well, so I just know the path to go through. Feel free to use the candle to see where you're going, but it's just all muscle memory at this point. Okay, these ones you do have to take out. There's a trick you can use to kind of make it a little easier. If you stab with the sword and then immediately throw the boomerang, sometimes they'll knock back from the sword hit. The 2 pieces will fly out, and if you timed it right, the boomerang will actually take both of them out. Doesn't always work, but it's a technique you can try. Okay, this room is one of the first that's really kind of challenging, because those little orange snake basket enemies, they will, if you hit them, they'll swallow you, and you can stab them from inside. But after a couple of seconds, they'll actually eat your magic shield, and you go back to just a regular shield. It's very annoying, and it's a huge waste of money, because then you'll have to leave, spend another 90 rupees to repurchase. If you also haven't noticed this yet, or are wondering why some of those moving blocks won't move if you're playing, if you're in a room where there are moving blocks, the block won't move until you've killed all of the enemies in the room. So that's why, if that's something you're struggling with. Okay, a lot of this stage we can skip. We got another one of these guys. This is kind of the first time that they start bringing bosses back just as kind of little sub-bosses. And you can see what I was talking about before, where they end up moving really fast once they're down to just 1 head. Come on up here. This guy gives you kind of a pointless clue. There is a waterfall just south of the white sword that you can actually walk into and get some hints if you pay for them. They're pretty cryptic and not really all that useful, so I'd say skip it. Watch out for the traps here. You can go down through the center. Got a couple more vires to kill, but we're almost to the Gliok at the end of the level. I can also say that now that we have the raft and the ladder, we can get the other 2 overworld heart containers, but we're still, even after that, we're still going to be 1 heart container shy of what we need for the magical sword. Usually after stage 4, or level 4, we can go get the magical sword. Okay, so here's a 2-headed Gleeok. We'll fight more of them later in the game. As you stab the heads, they will end up flying off and start flying around the room. Just kind of try to time your attacks as much as possible. His fireballs do come out in a pretty rhythmic pattern, so you kind of just want to stay on your feet, keep moving, avoid the fireballs, and hit the heads as you're able. Get another heart container, grab your Triforce piece. We can either go grab the other 2 Triforce piece or the other 2 heart containers now, or just go straight to level 2. They're all kind of in the same general area, so kind of up to you. Level 2 is incredibly easy, so there's no need to get the other heart containers before you go, but you certainly could if you want to. Okay, don't really have enough rupees to buy either of the other items that I need yet, but I won't need the enemy bait until level 7, which is usually the last dungeon I go to before level 9. And then, like I said, I try to get a Water of Life at some point, which I could go ahead and buy now if I want to. The caves where you can buy Waters of Life are everywhere, so there's, I forget the exact count, but there's over a half a dozen of them throughout the entire world map. Take out these blue moblins. See, just like I said, they like to drop bombs. I won't make an M&M joke there. Okay, let's just go ahead and take out level 2, be done with it. Level 2 is a great place to get money. The little snakes that are in here are big for dropping rupees. Okay, you can skip about half of this stage. This is also a level where it's very easy to use a lot of keys if you take the wrong path, but you should be doing okay with keys at this point. Move over to the right. Then we're going to start heading north, basically for several rooms all the way till the end, other than one quick little detour. Yeah, don't unlock any of those doors or use keys. What you just saw there is something that I can't fully explain, and I don't know if it's actually a glitch or if it was programmed in, but some rooms in dungeons have what I like to think of as like a boss or master monster that you kill him and everybody else dies. Don't know why it happens, but I like it. Okay, we're going to make a little side tour over here to the east, kill these 3 blue Gorayas and grab the magical boomerang. It will replace your regular boomerang. The only difference is the magical boomerang is now silver colored and it goes to the end of the screen instead of the regular one, which only flies a little bit or a little ways in front of you. Kill this guy, grab one more key. Keep going north. Kill them. Let's see if we can get some more rupees. Not too bad. Kill these Gorayas so that the door will open and we'll get some bombs out of it. Alright, now the boss here, there's actually 2 ways that you can kill him. Okay, that was the easy way. If you drop a bomb and it happens to explode kind of on top of him, you'll notice he's just kind of stunned for a second. While he's stunned, you can hit him with the sword and damage him. That's the only time your sword will ever do any damage to him. The other way to kill him is if you place a bomb in front of him so that he walks over it, he'll swallow it and you'll see a little animation of him kind of like getting stunned and the bomb explodes. 2 bombs in his mouth will kill him as well. That's much easier to do in terms of the placement works better. Sometimes you'll get lucky like I just did. You drop the bomb kind of on top of him. Then while he's stunned, just run up, give him a quick stab. It takes him out very easy. Alright, we want to go here through the east coast. This is where the other 2 heart containers are. So now that we have the raft, we can float up here and grab the next one. There we go. Then a couple screens south of here, and we can get our 12th heart container. And like I said, we need 12 total to be able to get the magic sword. So this is kind of our halfway point through the game. We already did all of our overworld exploration, did the first 4 dungeons, which are very easy. Can now come out here, grab the magic sword, which makes the second half of the game much more manageable. Alright, so there we go. It's a little bit of a walk to get all the way back over to the west side of the map, which is where the magical sword is hidden. Stages 5, 6, 7, and 8 you can more or less do in any order, although you have to do 5 before you can do 7. And other than that, I don't think it matters. I think 6 is the most difficult. There's a lot of wizrobes in that dungeon, and they can be problematic. So level 6 is also right next to where we're going to get the magic sword, so I typically just knock that one out first, call it a day, come back, and then cleaning up 5 and 8, which are kind of back over this way on the east side of the map, and then I kind of end with 7, which is kind of off by itself. Now that we have the ladder, we can cross over this river. But before we do, I'm going to make a side tour here and grab a Medicine of Life just in case we need it in level 6. So use the letter, show it to that old lady, she will sell you the medicines. Blue you can use once, red you can use twice. When you use it, it just completely refills your life. When you use a red, it turns it into a blue. You still have 1 use left. If you have a blue and you go buy another blue, it will turn it back to red. Obviously much more efficient to just buy the red, 68 rupees instead of 40 for 2 blues, 40 each for the 2 blues. Real quick here, we're going to make a little grab, hit that far northeast Armos Knight, get the power bracelet from under him. That opens up a kind of a secret path that gives you some shortcuts around the map. There's 4 of them total that kind of help you get around a little bit quicker. Okay, we're going to go all the way over here to the graveyard, and in the upper right quadrant, we want to hit that tombstone there, push it down, and grab the Master Sword. That's now twice as strong as the White Sword, so we're in very good shape to take out a lot of the enemies that were giving us trouble before. Right here up this ladder is level 6. Avoid the Lionels, just come on in. Big, wide, double door, very ominous. Okay, move to the left here. The rooms that have wizrobes, they come in 2 colors. There's the orange, like this room, and then there's the blue. Orange really aren't that difficult to take out. 1 hit will take them out with the magic sword. Blue wizrobes take 3 hits. The blues, you can always see where they are. They kind of just move around the stage, they kind of phase through walls, whereas the yellow ones teleport all over the place. The other thing you can do if you're in a room with a lot of wizrobes and they're really giving you trouble, use that trick of what I said where they'll respawn each time you go in a room, kill the orange ones, and then leave, come back in, and some of the blue ones will have been replaced by orange, so you can then just keep taking out orange. So you can kind of just keep replacing them with orange as long as you need to. Blues aren't bad, like I said, it only takes 3 hits. They just can hit hard, and without the magic shield, their spell will just keep hitting you and drain your life very quickly. This is also the first stage where I really don't worry about the weapon. It's the magic wand is the item in this stage. I don't think it's worth it. I never use it, and the enemies in here are tough enough that I find it's quicker to just make my way to the exit, and I just don't even worry about picking up the wand. Level 7, I usually skip the item. Level 8, I usually skip the item. Oh, that's a godsend. Getting the magic clock in a room with wizrobes freezes them all in place. Okay, keep coming here. These fires are much easier to take out now that you have the magic sword. Exit to the right. Got one more of these rooms to deal with before we get to go to the boss. Be careful of those bubbles that are flying around. They don't do any damage, but they will stun you enough that it takes away your ability to use your sword for a few minutes. Your B weapons still work fine, but you won't be able to use your sword. It can really screw you up if those orange snake baskets grab you. Stunning them with the boomerang is nice. You can take them out now with 3 hits, I believe, with the magic sword. Take this secret passage. This is where we're starting to see passages too. It's not underground as the item. Move down here. You can skip these guys completely. Okay, and this room tricks you. You think you need to fight these enemies, but if you notice, it's a key door, so you can just walk straight through. Or you can get a magic clock and kill them anyway. Oh, and a fairy. How nice of you. Okay. The Goma in this room only takes 1 hit. Have your bow ready. That's the only thing that'll hit him, and it only works when his eye is open. But sometimes the timing works out, and the second that you walk into the room, you can just launch an arrow, take him out immediately. It's hilarious. Okay, and with that, we've taken out what I think is the hardest dungeon in the game. Smooth sailing from here. Notice that the Lionels are much easier to kill now with the magic sword. We are going to go ahead and use this shortcut to jump back over to the east, hit level 5 and then 8. I have not, after 30 some years of playing this game, learned the pattern of which dungeon or which door takes you to which staircase. I know there is a way. It's a guess and check every single time. That's the one I want. Okay, so we're going to go back to the Lost Hills. But when I said before that you could only go off to the west, that was a little bit of a lie. If you go north several times, the screen just continues to repeat. After 4 or 5, it will unlock a secret area, and you'll actually find the 5th dungeon. Okay, level 5 is pretty big. There are some optional things that you can do here. I don't know that it's all worth it. These Gibdos can be a problem. They're another enemy that loves to give bombs. You do want to come here. The item in this stage is the whistle, which is essential. So you want to bomb through a couple of these walls. If you have... Oh, here's the first room with blue dark nuts. Now that we have the magic sword, they're not as bad. When I was a kid, I used to play this game, and I wouldn't have the magic sword till much later. These things are very, very problematic if you're still using the white sword. So do your best. Like I said, if you kind of shoot them from a distance or kind of get in front of them so that they're going to have to walk in front of you, you can usually get a quick shot off with your to the side. Anyway, what I was getting ready to say is once you come through here, you have a choice. You can go to the south there, and another room over, there's a merchant who will upgrade your bomb capacity. For right now, you'll notice you can only have a maximum of 8 bombs. You can pay him 100 rupees, and I think it's 100, and it'll up your max to 12. I personally don't ever find that it's worth it, but if you had a lot of extra money, or sometimes if I'm in this room or in this dungeon and I have 100, sure, go ahead and grab it. Just don't screw yourself, because you will need 70 or 80 to buy some enemy bait before you go to level 7. And it's a pain to keep farming later, but so don't spend money if you don't have it, but if you have it to spare, why not? There's one or more of those later in level 7 where you can upgrade your bomb capacity one more time up to a maximum of 16. Okay, if you were quick enough, then the blue dark nuts in this room will not respawn. Or I'm sorry, not that room. There's another room later where that happens, but go on down through the staircase here. Go back. Blue dark nuts would have respawned there. These Gibdos are still here. If you need some more bombs, go ahead and kill them. There we go. There's a river on the north part of this room. You can kind of just jump over it, go to the north. These guys will give you bombs if you kill them almost 100% of the time, but you'll have to use bombs to kill them, so it can be worth it, but it's up to you. Most of the time I would just avoid them. Head to the north here. Again, sorry for the darkness. Kill the Gyptos if you need bombs, otherwise I'd say just move on through. Red dark nuts can be ignored. Although you can use the ladder and stand on the water, and it makes it much easier to take them out because they can't get to you. Okay, use the key to go to the west. A couple more Gyptos. Same thing as before. Now, there's a fun trick with the pole voices, which are the enemies that look like the floating bunny heads. One arrow will take them out instantly, and the arrow goes through several of them, so it's a quick way to take them out. Be aware every time you fire an arrow, it does cost you 1 rupee, so be conservative. Here's the boss. You cannot hurt him until you blow the whistle, and once you do, he shrinks down, only takes 2 or 3 hits with the magical sword, and we're ready to get the Triforce and move on. Okay, 2 stages left. Honestly, level 7 is easier than 8. 7 is huge, but very simple. There's very few difficult enemies in it. But level 8 is kind of off by itself at this point, so it's usually a little more efficient to go ahead and take a level 8 out, then do 7 at the end, and kind of have a nice little reprieve before you take on level 9 and Ganon. A couple of different ways you can get there. It's just like 2 screens south of where level 2 was, kind of over in the southeast woods. This also gives you a chance to get a few more rupees before you have to buy the enemy bait if you don't quite have enough, because you have to have that to get through level 7. We could have taken a shortcut to get down here too. The underground passageways, one of them exited just past or just back where we were, a couple screens away, but never takes that long to kind of walk through this whole map, so. Alright, you want to go south, you will need the candle to burn the bush that is hiding the entrance to level 8. Ta-da! Okay, this can be a difficult stage, but there's a lot of things that you can just completely skip. So this boss you don't have to fight, just throw a bomb, move north. We basically just have rooms full of blue dark nuts that we have to take care of. If you still have some holy water or some water of life, this is a great place to use it. If you're careful, you can get through these without too much difficulty, but it's tough. Blue dark nuts like to drop hearts and fairies, so usually you're going to be okay. Keep moving north. Skip through this room. There's no reason to kill any of them. This room, we're going to bomb to the north. If you want to kill a couple of those, go ahead. We're going to have to in a minute anyway, but we can skip them for now. Get your bow ready, because we're going to fight another Goma. This time he's blue, so he takes 3 shots. And he's one of the enemies that the magic shield cannot block his fireballs. Just keep moving around, dancing past the fireballs, wait till he opens his eye. 3 shots, and he's good. And then we're going to go to this door on the right. Arrows take out the pull voices very quickly. Couple of dark nuts. If you're really struggling with these, like I said, you can kill the... maybe you'll get lucky and get a clock. If not, you can take out some of the easier ones, leave the room, come back in, let them respawn. It might respawn with easier enemies. Keep going until you got the room cleared and you can get through the passage. That is the magical key. You notice it replaced the number of keys we have with an A basically we now have unlimited keys to get through the rest of the game. I'm going to go back here, and we need to backtrack a little bit. That room where I said there were the dark nuts that we bombed north, now we have to kill them. So it's not a good idea to kill them the first time you're in this room, or at least it's not a good idea to clear the room the first time you're here, because there's a good chance that by the time you go north, kill the Goma, get the magic key, and come back here, they may have respawned, and then you have to go through the whole process all over again. So if you want to kill a few, fine. Make sure to leave at least one, so you don't have to redo all of your work. Go down through this secret passage. We're going to be very close to the Gliok and the end of the game, or the end of the dungeon. Lots of pull voices there you can hit with arrows. And we're going to grab our bombs and actually bomb this wall to the north. Ta-da! Here's our Gliok. 4 heads this time instead of 2, but we've got a better sword, so he's much easier to take out. Second to last heart container, and second to last piece of Triforce. Okay, so that only leaves level 7. We do need to stop on our way over there and get some enemy bait. And yeah, level 7, like I said, not that hard, just very, very big. It's easy to get lost, turned around, and you could wander for quite a while through a lot of rooms that look very similar. It's kind of a gauntlet of enemies. Like, there's several rooms that have a lot of enemies, but they're easy. Like, they're you don't have the Wizrobes and the Dark Nuts like you do here. It's mostly just a lot of Garayas, things like that. So it's actually kind of a nice little respite before moving on to tougher stages. The cheapest enemy bait that I'm aware of is, or at least that's convenient and that I'm aware of, is the same room where you got the blue ring. So come back this way, go north, 2 more screens, push that Armos Knight and grab it there. There's a couple other spots along the way that might be a little more convenient, but you'll pay slightly more. If you have the money, go for it. There's really nothing you're going to need it for at this point other than possibly refilling your water of life if you need it. But it's only 60 here. Like I said, I think it's 70 to 90 other places. The place where we bought the magic shield is another place that has it, but it's more pricey. Okay, the entrance to level 7 is one of the most elusive ones in the game. Actually, a funny story, when I was a kid, this was the dungeon that nobody could find. I remember every single day on the playground, me and all of my friends would tell stories about, did you find level 7 yet? Did you find level 7 yet? We'd make plans of who was going to go bomb which walls and who was going to go burn which trees, and then we'd report back the next day to see if anybody found it. And I remember I went to my dad's work one day, and one of the guys that he worked with, I learned had Zelda, and I had a conversation with a grown adult about where level 7 was and if he had found it yet. And he was at the same place that we were. He's like, no, nobody's found it. Like, nobody knew. And it's funny, like, that was just kind of a cultural thing, was the whole world, or my whole world, was people trying to find level 7, but you miss that stuff. I don't feel like you see those or hear those stories anymore. But anyway, now that we're here, like I said, it's a lot of Garayas, a lot of just Kises, just simple enemies. Follow the path that I'm going through. A lot of these enemies, you'll see some of the bosses reappear. You don't have to kill them. This room too, you could kill the Garayas, or you could just move on. And here's our hungry Garaya that needs some meat. Very cryptic clue, not very well explained. It's the only spot where using an item makes it gone forever. So, a little bit of a bummer you don't get to keep it, but oh well. In this room, you could bomb to the north if you want to. There's a little secret in the upper left corner of the map. Get some rupees. There's really no need for them at this point at all. It's just kind of a fun little room to come in. It's actually inefficient to go this way because now you just have to backtrack and go back south again, but it's still fun to do. Once you've killed them, you can come down here to the south. We're going to need to bomb this door or this wall to the east to go to the eye of the map. If you want the red candle, it's in this room. You can kill the Gorias, go down that passage, you get it. It's no more powerful than the blue candle. It's just you can have more flames per screen without having to leave the screen and come back in and reset. Not really useful, especially at this point. We've done everything that we're going to need to do with the candle, so I usually just skip it. This guy we do need to kill. He's the same as in level 5, only there's 3 little eyes that will come out when you shrink him down. Go north. Hopefully you still have at least 1 bomb. That's usually what'll set me off in this stage, or set me back, is if I run out of bombs or don't have enough supplies. So be careful in this room because those bubbles will take away your sword and then you can't kill the wall masters. Also, that clock that's down there, don't grab that. If you grab a clock with a room with the wall masters, they'll stop spawning. So, and you can't push that block and make that secret passage open until you kill all of the wall masters. Come down through this passage. We're very close to the boss. Here we need to bomb to the east. Lots of bombs needed in this stage. And we're going to fight our old friend Aquamentus. Unlike when we found Gleox a couple of times as repeat, this one is no more difficult than before. So, again, going back to what I said about this being just a very easy kind of respite stage. And with that, we have full health and the full Triforce. If there's any last minute pieces of gear you want to get, go for it. Like I said, we skipped some major things. We skipped the Holy Book, the Magic Wand, the Red Candle, but that's fine. I don't feel like any of them are really all that useful. If you used any of your Water of Life, I'd recommend going and grabbing more just to get back up to red. Here we need to go through the Lost Woods, which it's another one kind of like the Lost Hills. You'll get lost if you don't take the right path, but you need to go northwest, southwest. Do it in that order, and that will let you move on to the graveyard. If you get stuck or forget that pattern, you can always go east and get out of the Lost Woods that way. You can also get to level 9 other ways. You don't have to go this route. It's just a quick, easy way from level 7. Actually, it's about 6, 1/2 dozen the other from level 7 to level 9, but come on up through Death Mountain, an area that you really don't explore much in the game if you take this route. There's a lot of areas that just never really need to go that far north. Go back past the Armos Knights that we already fought before to get the power bracelet. The further north you get, the more you'll start to see some Lionels and these boulders that drop. This would have been the other place that we could have come at it from. We're just a little bit west of where the White Sword was. Move to the left. These can be a little bit tricky because they're skinnier passageways. And here we have the infamous Spectral Rock. Drop a bomb on the left boulder and come into level 9. Okay, this is a huge maze. There's several secret passages which will take you around. Some of them lead to dead ends. Some of them just take you on loops around. Follow the path that I take. It's not that hard. You get through the whole stage in 10 minutes or less. Lots of whiz robes, so that's kind of why we have the Water of Life. It just makes it easier to handle them. If we didn't get the magical key from level 8, you might have a tough time because there's a lot of locked doors as well. Be careful. Keeping the magic shield in this room is good. It's useful to block the magic spells from the whiz robes. Keep coming around. In this room here, there's 3 blue whiz robes. If you walk, just keep walking straight. They won't get you. All right, now we're going to make a little detour. Just avoid that enemy. Come here to the south. Use a bomb and bomb the door or the wall on the east. This one you can avoid because we're going to bomb to the north, but sometimes he kind of gets in your way, so if you want to go ahead and kill him, go for it. You have to kill all of the little orange satellite enemies before you can do damage to him. Take the map if you really want it to see the nice skull layout. These you can either kill or avoid, up to you, because we're going to bomb the door to the wall to the north. Go into the secret upper corner. We do have to kill the enemies here. Same trick as before. If they're really giving you a hard time, kill the orange ones, leave, come back. They might respawn as... There's some of the blue ones might respawn as orange. And here we have the elusive red ring. Doubles our defense yet again. Also was a fun surprise for me when I played this game as a kid, because I don't feel like any of the Nintendo powers or anything that I had ever seen ever showed a picture of Red Link. So I thought it was just the green and the blue, and then the first time I got to this point and saw that there's a red ring too, I just thought it was the coolest thing, and it looked so powerful. Here, like I said, you can just skip him since you're using the key. This guy kind of gives you a hint of where you need to go next, so you want to bomb here to the west. Kill a few more enemies. Then we're going to push that left block to open the secret passage. Ooh, and a fairy. Say we're about halfway through the dungeon at this point. Take these guys, they're a nice little break from the whiz robes. Just kind of avoid the Kisses and move through this room here. And we need to kill him so that we can take the secret passage, or the staircase right in the middle of the room here. But we can't push the block until... Take him out. These do not respawn, so don't worry about killing him and then leaving for too long. Those enemies, they're kind of almost like mini bosses. They will not come back. All right, we need to bomb to the north. We'll have to kill these Wizros when we come back, but for now we can leave them. Another room to be careful of, because if you're stuck on this outside, those Wizrobes will phase through and get you, and the bubbles will take your sword, and you can get screwed pretty quickly if you stay here on the outside. So if you see the bubbles, take the hit, but then just try to get away from the Wizrobe until you get your sword back. Once they're taken out, you push that far block, take the staircase down to get our last weapon. The silver arrow. I always liked the silver arrow because it really only has one purpose in the whole game. It functions just like regular arrows. I don't even think it's any more powerful. It could be. I've never really used it as a regular weapon, but I just liked that it's the only thing that kills Ganon. You have to find it in this dungeon, and just kind of that other secret thing to magic item to finish the game. It's always kind of fun. Okay, we're going to backtrack a little bit. Now we're going to go here to the north. Avoid these guys. More than once I've lost my magical shield in this room, and it's a real bummer to get this far into the game and then lose it. Not the end of the world if you do. It just kind of ruins a otherwise good run. You do need to kill them because we're going to the west. Go ahead and avoid these enemies if you want to. They're easy to kill. They like to drop hearts too, so you might be worth it. These ones you can just run straight through and go through the key door. Here we need to take them out so we can move another block and get another secret passage. Avoid the traps, unlike what I just did. We are almost there. Okay. No need to fight anybody here. Get your bombs and bomb the west wall. Hopefully your health is still doing alright at this point. A couple easier enemies before we take our final secret passage. Alright, when we pop out here, we've got one more of the Petras to fight before the room with Ganon. This throws you off too because in the entire game you always hear the kind of moaning or growl of the boss when you're a room away from the boss, but these Petras, they make that noise too, so you don't realize that you're one room away from Ganon. If you want to have the silver arrow ready, go for it, or otherwise I would say the Water of Life is the safe bet. Ganon will disappear and he just teleports randomly around the room. I've never been able to really learn a good pattern. I kind of just stay in the center, stab wildly up and down. Usually you get pretty lucky. It's all luck at this point, really. If you know of a pattern, I'd love to hear it. After 4 stabs, he'll turn brown. At that point, you've got a little bit, short little window. Hit him with a silver arrow and take him out. Come on, whoops. Come on into this room. I was going to say you have to stab the fire. I would love to know if anybody has ever made it to this point and walked into the fire on accident and died. But anyway, with that, we have finished The Legend of Zelda. Finally, peace returns to Hyrule. So, a game like this that when we were kids took months, years to play through, it's about an hour long. There's a lot of content that I skipped over. It's one of the things that I love about this game is you could replay it many times, dig in deeper, find more secrets, find more places to bomb. There's almost, and this is not 100% true, but almost every screen of the overworld has some secret in it, whether it's a dungeon, a cave, a shop, something. So there's so much to explore. And there's even a second quest. So I assume most people are aware of that at this point. Sorry if I'm telling you things that are the most obvious thing in the world to you. But the second quest is just a more difficult version of the game. The overworld map is the same layout, although the locations of most of the dungeons, caves have been completely rearranged and swapped. The dungeon maps are completely different, much more difficult this time around. It's great, and I am one of those people, and a couple of my friends I've talked to are the same. I don't play the second quest except maybe once every 5-10 years because I want it to stay fresh. The first quest I've done so many times that it's second nature to me. And while I love that, I love having that feeling of mastery. You lose the mystery, the discovery. Second quest stays fresh for me like that. It's something I love to go back to very infrequently. But regardless, this is a classic. I mean, it's an absolute understatement how good this game is and what it did for the gaming industry, what it did for Nintendo, adventure games, RPGs. I think none of that would exist without The Legend of Zelda. So I hope you agree. And again, whether you were watching this video because you wanted to learn something new about the game or you were coming at it just as a nostalgic timepiece to relive one of your favorite games. Either way, I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm glad you watched. Leave comments. Tell me your anecdotes, your stories, your nostalgia, why you love this game or what drew you to it, what you remember. Did you also have a hard time finding level 7? Um, Also, leave comments if you have other suggestions. If you know other games that you would like to see me do, um, or stories that you have of tricks that you know to make the game easier or other routes. Like this is a community thing. So please share your comments. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what you want to see. But more than anything, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you next time.